Hello, this is Brendan Bingham, and this is my cloud solution proposal for JT Taxidermy here in Idaho Falls, Idaho. So first up, we're going to talk about cloud principles and design, basically what kind of cloud solution you could use for your business. So first, we want to talk about the public cloud model. The public cloud model will allow for low-cost services, pay-as-you-go subscription, and there's no need to hire like an IT staff, things like that. The cloud vendor will actually take care of most of that stuff for you. The public cloud will actually also allow your employees to access the data that's stored on the current laptop on their smartphones, or even if they're not at the building, they could access all those things. Software as a service is essentially, it takes care of data security to keep the sensitive data that you have for your business protected, and it also allows you to use like multi-factor authentication so that only the people that you want to have access to your system will have access to your system. I also looked at a few different providers in Idaho Falls. By far, I think the best one that a lot of businesses are actually using is Idaho Falls Fiber. They have it's a fiber connection, so you're going to have really steady speeds. It's always going to be connected, and you're not going to lose network speed based on like how many devices are connected or anything like that. You're also going to get about 1 gigabyte per second, which is really fast internet speed essentially. Next up, we have cloud networking and cloud storage. So connections to the network. There's going to be a lot of different ways you'll be able to actually connect to your network. Like I was talking about before, you'll be able to access it on private smartphones if you wanted to go that route. You could also get some maybe tablets that the employees could use, things like that. Um, a really great example of that is over here on the right side of the screen there. Your new IT infrastructure is going to be here. You've got your wireless router connected to potentially, I put 3 smartphones on there with the 3 employees that we have, but you could do as many as you wanted. It's just a wireless router, as well as the laptop can be connected to that either wirelessly or wired, and then your printer can connect to it as well, so you can print things on the fly from the smartphones, from the tablets, whatever you want to do. Cloud storage is a really great way to make it so you don't have to buy a whole bunch of like hardware storage for your laptop. You can store it on the cloud, and Google Drive is a really good uh, option for that because it's free to use. A lot of people use Gmail accounts. It works seamlessly with that. You can connect to other Gmail accounts. You could create new ones just for the business. You could use private ones, however you wanted to do it. And then again, this is that proposed infrastructure design with those connections. And the cloud service provider offers a firewall, multi-factor authentication, VPN, data redundancy, which means essentially backups of your data in case anything were to happen. Disaster recovery, again, you use those backups if somebody were to ever, get into your system. You can use it to back up, and you still have access to all of your data. And then you also get the IT support, which would be really huge, so you don't have to hire IT staff, things like that. Assessing cloud needs. Some of the things that I have noticed that would be very helpful for this company. I kind of drew up, whatever you want to call it, a little chart over here. So you're going to be using the public cloud services with software as a service. Those 2 things that I already talked about before. This is going to give everything access to all of your company data kind of on demand whenever you need it. You can use it while you're at work. You can use it if you're out in the parking lot needing to talk to a customer about something. It allows seamless access for smartphones, the laptop, employees. It connects seamlessly with your internet service provider. It kind of all just works and meshes really, really good. Future storage needs. Um, we're probably going to need to increase storage as we go, as we gain more customers, as the business grows. You'll need more storage, and that's the nice part about that public cloud service and software as a service. It's under a pay-as-you-go subscription, so you can continue to upgrade that storage as needed, and it also allows for encryption. Depending on what service provider you use, they have different types of encryption, so that if somebody were to gain access to this, it would be encrypted, and they would need to de-encrypt it using your program, your whatever provider you decide to use, their kind of decryption software. As far as the gap analysis, we only have 3 employees right now, and only 1 person at a time has access to the company data because of the single laptop that's in there. It'd be really great to be able to upgrade that so that everybody can access it from their smartphones. And again, you can set that to either use their private emails, or you can have them set up new ones that are connected to the business network. It's really easy to scale up and down as business is booming. You can scale up and get more storage, get more speed, all those kind of things. And then if it's slower, you can scale back down. It's going to decrease your prices. It's going to make it easier to stay connected and only use what you need to use. Engaging cloud vendors. So potential cloud vendors, there's a couple options that I've done some research on. First one is Amazon Web Services, or AWS. It's really well established. A lot of people really like to use it. I personally haven't, but it's very promising from the research that I've done. It does offer that pay-as-you-go pricing, so you can scale up, scale down, change things however you need to do it to either utilize more or save costs, or however you need to go. And it's used a lot by small businesses. The other one is Microsoft Azure. I'm pretty familiar with this one. I've used their virtual machines quite a bit, but works really great with Windows systems, which your laptop is. Most smartphones will be able to connect to Microsoft Azure no problem. You just have to download the right apps and software, things like that. It's familiar. A lot of people use, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Outlook for emails. A lot of people are really familiar with a lot of the Microsoft applications, I guess. They have really good security options, really good encryption, things like that. Costs, there's going to be some fixed costs that go with this as well. So the monthly cloud subscriptions, and again, those are fixed. So the cloud subscription is the same, and then you pay based on how much you're actually using. The fixed cost stays the same, but it can go up or down based on how much of the cloud you're utilizing, versus like storage and speeds and things like that. Some variable costs that are going to affect that and change the price a little bit is going to be the storage usage, how much storage you're using. The cloud storage capacity will need to be upgraded regularly as new customers come in, or again, you can downscale that if there's not as many customers at a certain point in time. A licensing model, Microsoft 365 Business Standard, so it's charged per user per month, and it gives you access to email, storage, and collaboration tools. That goes with that Microsoft Azure that I was talking about. Management and technical operations. So cloud vendor, we talked about Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure. So Amazon Web Services, they have an S3 package. It provides storage that can be scaled as long as you need for storing customer data, storing photos of work that you've completed, things like that. Microsoft Azure is pretty similar, but their package is called Azure Blob Storage, and their virtual machines. I evaluated how easily it can be utilized with Microsoft tools that are already installed and being used on the laptop itself. It'd be a lot easier to go with the Microsoft because it seems like that's what's already being used. Service level agreements. So Amazon Web Services, your performance levels are really high. They have a lot of infrastructure capabilities, a lot of different things you can do to scale up and scale down, a lot of different tools that you can utilize and things like that. The uptime is based on 99.9% and 99.99% uptime, and uptime is basically just how accessible, how often you'll be able to actually access your network. So 99.9% of the time or 99.99% of the time, it's a small little jump, but it adds significant, cost as you need to scale up or scale down on that. And if there's ever an outage, if you ever try to get on and there's for some reason that 0.01 or 0.1 or 0.01% chance that it's not working, you'll be able to you'll get a credit. They'll give you a credit back so you can kind of make up for that, compensate for that. Azure is pretty much the same. The Microsoft one, performance levels are enterprise grades. You're getting a lot faster speed. Enterprise means it's really big businesses like to use this. And you'll get that same kind of speed that these big businesses will use. Uptime is the same. You get 99.9 or 99.99% uptime, depending on the service level that you get. And then credits are given based on outages as well. Migration principles, we would use a phased approach. So we'd have to use backups and storage items at the beginning, and then focus on any business-specific applications that you guys are already using and move those over to the cloud, kind of a little bit at a time. That way we don't have to face any downtime. We're not shutting anything down. We can kind of do it in phases and move stuff over and just kind of slowly work our way over to the cloud. Compliance and security. So financial planning, it's kind of a lot what I already talked about. There's going to be more cost or less cost depending on how much of these cloud services that you're actually using. You don't want to take a whole bunch of the storage and stuff and ended up not needing it and having to pay for it even though you're not utilizing it, that kind of thing. Smaller virtual machines and moderate storage tiers can be used to keep costs pretty low, and cloud infrastructure can also scale during busy seasons, and so you only pay for what you're actually using. Network maintenance is a big part of compliance and security. Cloud providers reduce maintenance costs by handling hardware updates, security patches, and system availability. It lowers the risk of system failure because you guys aren't having to worry about all that back-end stuff. They'll take care of it for you. They'll make sure it's updated. They'll make sure that backups are set in place before they run updates so that if something goes wrong, they can back your system up and keep it running no problem. Governance and risk. So there's a risk assessment here. These are just some of the risks that I kind of came up with that could happen with this business. We've got data breaches, accidental data deletion, cloud service outages, cyber attacks, physical damage, employee data entry errors, reputation damage. That's this left column here. Their risk levels are 3 and above. Essentially, they're all pretty serious things that could happen. People that would be affected, I mean, customers, order records, scheduling system, things like that. Who owns the risk and who owns the asset. So the risk response for most of these things is what I really wanted to talk about with this slide. Risk response is the act of managing identified risks by mitigating threats, transferring risk to a third party, or avoiding risks entirely. So you could do any one of those 3 things for pretty much all of these. Every decision you're going to make is going to have some amount of risk that goes along with it. Moderate, high, and critical for most of these. And I mean, data breach, you're always going to have to worry about data potentially being breached, but you can mitigate that by utilizing the cloud. Make sure you have multi-factor authentication. Make sure that you've got strong passwords. Make sure your data is encrypted when it's stored, things like that. All of these can be mitigated, and all of them can be they're all, I think, necessary risks that we would have to take. Some of them can be fixed through training, things like that. Policies and procedures. There's a lot of different things that you can do with policies and procedures to help mitigate a lot of this stuff. Customers expect their data to be protected, and utilizing a cloud service provider is going to help you make their data more secure. You'll be able to store it off-site, so it's not stored directly on the laptop. It'll be stored on a cloud storage. In there, it's encrypted. There's no way to access it unless someone is able to get in with a password or breach the data or something like that. But they have policies and they have procedures in place to help you to either get your data back or help you to kind of bridge that gap, I guess, close those vulnerabilities so that you don't have to deal with that kind of stuff in the future. Overall, I think that the cloud would be very beneficial for this business, and I think that this is a great opportunity or option to maybe kind of get started in that space.